You know that feeling when a city itself is alive, the streets buzzing, vendors are shouting 2 for 50, buy one get one free. Engines are roaring, cars, motorbikes, and the kids are just running around, laughing, screaming, and it feels like a video game. But underneath all that, there's something really evil and dark going on. Well, today's case is very reminiscent of one of the other cases we previously talked about. The only difference is the time frame. In personal opinion, I think that maybe this story today could have been inspired by the story of the law. Remember we talked about him a few episodes ago, Lawrence Anini. Personal opinion, personal thought. I feel like this case could have been inspired by Anini's case. When Anini reigned, the character into this story would have been a child, a baby practically, so he possibly didn't hear about it in the news when it happened, but history, he probably heard it growing up. Today's case is about a young boy who grows up under the same hardship as Anini did and chose the same life path as Anini did and meets his end just like Anini did. Today we're talking about a boy that was named Okudili Ndiwe, but was later known as Derico Nwamama. He was born in Onitsha, Anambra State. Personally, I don't know why I keep feeling like weirded out when I say Onitsha, because I feel like I'm saying it wrong. I should know how it's said now. It's just, when you're sure of something today and you move to other places and suddenly the places you were once sure of, you no longer know how to say them properly anymore. When I say Onitsha, I feel even more weirded out that it's completely wrong, and the last thing I want to do is sound phony. So I apologize now if it's actually not Onitsha, but I will stick to Onitsha. Onitsha. Yeah, I think it should be Onitsha. Sorry, I didn't research that because it's too shameful to research something that I learned growing up in school as a rhyme. Anyways, he was born in Onitsha in Anambra State in 1979. During the time that he was born, Onitsha was one of the biggest, busiest markets in the whole of Africa, like Onitsha Market. Today, it stands still as one of the biggest markets in Nigeria. But back in 1980s, 1970s, it was one of the biggest markets in the whole of Africa, where traders, they travel with their livestock, their goods from market to market. Money keeps changing hand. Everyone's counting money. That was Onitsha. Onitsha was the kind of place where there are traders always on the move, always making money. The young boys, they don't want to go to school. They want to work there because the buyers sometimes will buy so much more than they can carry and they will need hands, and the young boys will help them carry it to their homes or to the car, and they would make change. That was Onitsha. Onitsha was a type of market where traders are always counting millions of naira. The type of place where a trader is counting so deep into the counting, and you greet them and you get a figure as a response, say 15, 16, 17, and you go good morning, and they go 18, and they keep counting 19, 20 because they don't want to lose their train of thought. Onitsha was the type of place that you go to buy peanuts and you end up going home with peanut, tiger nut, chestnut, kola nut, all the nuts. Imagine living very close to a place like that operates busier than a bank. You know that literally everyone who's there, they have money in their pocket, and you don't have money. You're broke. Your family struggles to make ends meet. That was Derico's life because he was born into a working class family. His father used to work odd jobs, and sometimes he would be away for days to find work and come home with some money. And while he's away or while he's around, the mother of the family will also have to work whatever she can to earn some money so the kids could be fed. And he had some siblings. They weren't rich by a long shot. They were just barely having what they needed. About school, like I said before, young boys don't want to go to school when they could already be making money today in the market. So at the age of 8, Derico decides, indeed, school's not for him. So he joins the boys at the market. He would help with the carrying of stuff, running little errands for the traders, the buyers. And during that time, he tried to avoid the touts and the thugs and all that. But if you are living, practically growing up in a place that's filled with people like that, and you're there for years, there's only so much you can avoid them. At some point, you have running with them that you cannot avoid or escape them. So at the age of 14, he is now friends with a guy named Chiechina, and Chiechina was the leader of a small gang. They were small basically in size, but their actions weren't small. They were very terrible people. So when he makes friends with them at the age of 14, that's when he goes from doing whatever else he can do, running errands in the market to earn some money, to picking pockets and robbing people, because Chiechina proceeds to teach him how to rob people without the people noticing that they've been robbed. Like pickpocket, nick this, nick that, and also taught him how to watch out for police. When you're committing crime, how to make sure you're sharp, your eyes are always scanning around to make sure that no police has spotted you, and if they do, escape before they get to you. So he learns that from Chiechina as well. During the time, 14, 15s, he is practically inexperienced, so he couldn't go on their robbery heists with them. They would go commit their crimes, and he was reduced to just being their errand boy. If Chiechina had any errands to be run or, messages to be sent, he would use Derico. After a while, people started to know him as Chiechina's friend. And if you're being known as a friend to a bad person, everyone's going to believe the same thing. This saying, birds of the same feather flock together. So even if you're a good person, but you're always seen around a terrible person, no one's going to believe that you're good, because how can you stand that person if you're so good? Let me paint you a picture of who this Chiechina guy was. Chiechina, like I said before, he was the leader of a small gang. He was a menace, a huge, huge menace. He would decide when to hit a bank. He would just show up, rob everyone. Don't fight back. If you do, you get killed. And he would also decide he wants a challenge. What's the challenge? Hitting the police station is a challenge. He would attack the police stations unprovoked, get away with weapons, whatever he needs, stock up, and murder anyone who stands in his way. So at one time, the crime happening in Anambra State was at an all-time high. And the Obi of the time, which Obi is a title that means leader. In case you're not a Nigerian listener, Obi is a title that's same as king, ruler. So the ruler of the state at the time decided, let's appeal to the youth of the community, tell them that they should help with the situation, look into all this crime that's happening, find out who's responsible for them, and see how they can curb all the crimes. The youth leader and the rest of the youth, they decided to have a community meeting. At the time, they knew that Chiechina was a menace. He was one of the people that attended this youth meeting. He, Derico, and the rest of the youth members, they show up at the venue, the location for the meeting. The youth leaders appeal to the rest of the youth. If you're one of the people that's causing us a lot of problems, you're doing crimes and disturbing others, you should stop, please. If you know anyone that's doing it, talk to them to stop or let us know so we can intervene. After the meeting, at least the youth leaders and the leaders were hoping to see some change. The next month, the very next month, that was in 1999, December of 1999. The youth meeting was in November of 1999. So a month later, Chiechina decides to take his gang members and attack his police station in Isiokwe. I hope I said that right. In Isiokwe, he set the police station on fire. Yeah. He killed people. He set all the vehicles on fire. And then he was shooting, like he shot for an hour. I couldn't even imagine, I didn't want to imagine that he was shooting at people for an hour. And I was thinking, where did he get the ammo to shoot for a whole hour straight? But then I remember that he was shooting right in front of the police station. So he must have looted it first to stock up on arsenals. So definitely. When they were done, he decided, oh, there's a rich man very close by. He lives right around the block. Let's go over to his place and see what the day holds for us. So they go to the man's residence and they tried to break in, but they were unsuccessful. Let's believe the man had really good security. He was rich and he lives in a very dangerous place. So safe to believe that he had very tight security because Chechina and his men, they couldn't break in. That was the end of the incident for the day. Now the youth leaders, they hear what happens and they're infuriated. We literally had a meeting addressing crimes basically a month ago and this dude was there. And then he goes ahead and does this. So they decided he needs to be handled. Handled in the form of punished. They went looking for him, but he had disappeared. He had run away. While they can't catch him, but they know he's somewhere around. He's not far. He's just hiding well. They decided, why don't we get help from Derico? Derico is his best friend. He should know where Chechina is. So they go speak to Derico and Derico decides to help them find Chechina. Now there were rumors that the reason he decided to help find Chechina was because he believed he had learned everything he needed to learn from Chechina. He didn't believe himself to be a follower, but more so a leader. But Chechina is already the leader of the gang. But if Chechina is caught and maybe thrown into jail, the seat would be vacant, aka he's a new leader. Rumors were said that was his main motive for helping find Chechina. So he helps find Chechina. After Derico gives the youth leaders information about Chechina's whereabouts, they go looking for him, but Chechina escapes. They catch his boys, his gang members, and Chechina hears on the street that Derico actually gave information about where to find him. He was very infuriated, and this part is a bit wishy-washy, so I will tell you the two versions that I could narrow down. First version is, after he finds out that it's Derico who ratted him out, he was very upset that he traveled all the way to Derico's father's house and went to town into the man, killed Derico's father in revenge. Derico then finds out that his father has been killed by Chechina and seeks revenge and ends up killing Chechina in revenge for killing his father. That was the first version. Another version was that Derico's father was actually alive and died in 2020. I am not quite sure if Derico killed Chechina just for the mere fact of becoming the new leader, because that article said that Derico killed Chechina to become the new leader and said nothing about Chechina killing his father. So far up to this point, his crimes had only been pickpocketing, petty theft. I'm talking about Derico. Derico didn't really do any crime until he became friends with Chechina. So I don't see Derico suddenly being so gruesome to just gun down his friend. So I think maybe, most likely, Chechina killed his father and that gave him the pain and motivation to kill Chechina. And also before Chechina dies, I forgot this part, it's one of the most gruesome of his crimes that I just can't believe how someone would do something like that. On the 16th of February, Chechina gets an info that there's a family that's living in Onitsha that have cash at home. So practically this family is well-to-do and they live in a nice house. They live in a 3-level building. And back then, you don't live in a 3-level building if you don't have money, because that was back in the days where there were still mud houses, bamboo sticks put together to have the structure mapped out, and then you plaster mud on it and let it cast and you live in it, or you wrap it up with bamboo leaves and hope that when it rains it doesn't penetrate all the way, and so you wrap it up so thick that the rain can't seep all the way through. And families were living in that. A whole family could live in one mud hut, and when they have more able-bodied men, the men would build another and another and another mud houses. Even back then, men that married multiple wives, they would first of all invest their time and energy into building different mud huts. So when they married these women would have their own separate huts, and each woman would live in a hut with her children. Also in the 1990s, early 2000s, There were concrete houses, but most people would not be able to fully afford a complete concrete house. So they would build to the level that it's livable, and they would move in there and live in the uncompleted structure that is barely closed enough for them to feel safe. And over the years, they would complete it slowly, or maybe sometimes their kids will grow older, make money, and come home to complete the house as a gift, a thank you for raising me gift to their parents. So this man, already in 1990, living in a 3-story building house, it was a symbol of wealth. Chechina and his goons, they show up at the man's house. He demands for money. The man tells him, sorry, I don't have any money to give you. I literally just deposited all the cash I had at home right around Valentine, because it's 2 days after Valentine. Most likely on Valentine's Day or a day after. So he's here like a day or two too late. And the man tells him, sorry, I had cash at home, yes, but I literally just deposited back into my account. So I don't have any money here to give you. So he keeps demanding for them to search the whole place. In order to motivate them to search hard enough for money, he grabs the man's 4-month-old baby boy, grabs the child, and dangles him off the balcony of the 3rd floor and says, give me money right now or I'm gonna drop this baby. You can imagine, the parents are frantic, they're looking everywhere, they're looking for things of value to offer him, but he's interested in just cash, because cash is cold hard cash in your hand. Valuables, you have to flip it for cash. So he's interested in cash, and he's telling them, no, I don't want anything else. I want cash. Look harder. And when the parents are defeated, honestly, truthfully, we don't have anything else to offer you. He drops the baby. He literally drops the baby from the 3rd floor, and the baby was gone. So people hear about this, which is why I was confused how he was welcomed into the community meeting. So it feels like maybe this story about him dropping this baby was out later after he died. Maybe people were too scared to even talk about it while he was alive. I don't know. But anyways, that happened. And when news flies that Derico has killed Chechina, everyone's like, oh my God, Derico is even stronger than Chechina. And then the rumors of how he killed Chechina starts spreading like wildfire. Derico hunts down Chechina because at this point they've been friends for a while. He knows exactly where Chechina likes to hang out. He was planning to go to Chechina's house, but then he's on his way to church. It was on a Sunday, and this devil goes to church. So Chechina is on his way to church. Derico is on his way to Chechina's house, and they meet each other on the way. And the minute Derico sets his eyes on Chechina, he fires multiple bullets into him. One record says Chechina dies there. Another record says that Chechina wasn't fully dead yet. He's like close, like right at the threshold, but he's not dead yet. And Derico finds himself a go-kart, like a wheelbarrow, bundles Chechina into the wheelbarrow and pushes them to the Isiokwe police station, the same one that he attacked, takes him there. And on the way, Derico, Chechina, I keep mixing up the two names. I keep calling Derico Chechina and Chechina Derico. Think I need coffee. Well, Derico pushes Chechina to Isiokwe police station. On their way to the police station, one of the articles said that Chechina pleaded with Derico to end his life and not hand him over to the police at the station alive. He should do him the honors of just ending his life right there. And Derico fired one more shot into him, and that killed him before taking his body to the police station. The police at the station were so happy that Chechina was dead. They praised Derico for killing him. They were so joyful. The whole community was so joyful. Everyone was praising Derico, not knowing that Derico was about to be worse than Chechina. They had no idea that if Chechina was on level 1, Derico was about to up it from level 1 to level 10. It didn't take them long to realize that, oh my God, we just traded the devil we knew for the angel we didn't know. Because one of the things that Derico did, he would send his men, because by default he became the leader of Chechina's gang, and he would send his boys to rob people at their homes, their shop, wherever. He would send them to rob people, and then when they rob and bring everything back to him, if it's cash, Well, radio silence. If it's item that needs to be flipped for cash, he already learned from Chechina. Flipping for cash is waste of time when you can just have cash. So when it's items, he would reach out to the owners of those properties and tell them, "Oh, I was out of town, but I just returned. And the minute I arrived, I heard news around that you were robbed. So the minute I heard it, I was so pained. So I went out and looked for the people who robbed you. I assure you, I found them. They had it from me. I recovered the stolen goods. But I went through a lot of trouble finding these things for you. So come with this amount of cash and take your things." In most cases, the people who were robbed would be so happy to get their items back. They would come with the money and get the items back without knowing that they were robbed by Chechina's gang members and he practically sent them. So he'd do that, and after a while, how much can he charge those people for their item back? Because if you're charging them the equivalent of the item, I might as well just go buy the item new. So he would charge them a bit of change, some money, tangible but not that big, so they can come back for their item. It's not enough money to sustain a gang. So they returned to what they knew best, robbing banks, robbing homes, and it said that sometimes they would rob a house. Derico won't be satisfied with just taking stuff, taking money, and leaving. He wants entertainment to feed his deranged mind. He would force parents to have sexual intercourse with their children, fathers with their daughters, mothers with their sons, even siblings against siblings. Anyone who refused to do as he asked, he would kill them immediately. And can you imagine the mind-fucking game? You're here invading me, putting me on high pressure, putting me on a high blood pressure health risk because I'm scared shitless. You take from me and then you demoralize me like that. If he wasn't toying with people, stealing from them, he would hit the highway, rob travelers and steal from them, kill them at times, and nothing would happen. Continue with his life. One of his gruesome killing was when travelers were passing through the state, the community, because interstate travels by bus, road trip, it was a 59-seater bus. So basically 59 passengers, the driver 60. They weren't even coming to Onitsha or Iweka or Anambra state at all. They were passing through from one state to another state. At times, you have to pass through multiple states in between. They were just passing through Onitsha and you're almost out of Onitsha. They're this close to being out of the state completely. They run into Derico and his men. He robbed everyone. When he was done, he still didn't feel satisfied enough. He wanted a thrill, so he commanded his men to shoot everyone in the bus execution style, and everyone was shot. Fortunately, 6 people survived the attack. They were shot fatally, but they made it, while the rest all died. That so far is the most number of people he killed in one attack. Over 44 people in one attack. Over his whole reign, which was very short, he reigned for about 2 years. Over his 2 years short period of reign, he killed about 200 civilians and 25 police officers. At this point, everyone's rallying, everyone's all for the fall of Derico. So the police force in Anambra State, they launched a special unit operation that was called Operation Derico, and their sole task was to capture Derico. And this time, the youth and the youth leaders, they're feeling very incompetent. So there is this group of vigilante youth. They do exactly that, vigilante. They watch out for crimes, they catch criminals and offenders, and they were asked by the ruler again if they can do something about this Derico case. Derico is being haunted by the police and by the vigilante group. Derico's men are being captured by the police officers, but they were unable to catch Derico. And later on, it would be said that he had skipped town because he had some high-up official who was offering him refuge. That's why he was able to evade the police. He says that he was offered refuge by a high-up official in Abuja. So he runs to Abuja and he hides out there, and when he believes that the heat had died down, he gets in a bus and he travels back to Onitsha. Iweka. On his way to Iweka, He's on the Onisha Bridge, and this bridge is a huge bridge. I'm not talking about a overhead bridge kind of situation, a flyover. No, I'm talking about bridge, connecting island bridge, because underneath it is this huge body of water. River? Sea? River? Yeah. Huge body of water. You get it. The only way to get to the other island is through that bridge or boat. So he's on this bridge. I have done a road trip 3 times. Bus road trip. I have been on this bridge 3 times. And this bridge it's not for the weak, I must say. It's humid, especially if you're traveling during peak summer. It's a nightmare. The traffic jam there is horrible. The temperature it's like a sauna. You're feeling sweaty, and the drivers at that point, they believe there's no point to even turn on the AC because the AC is going to deplete the fuel in the vehicle. So he's not going to waste all that fuel on AC just to chill the passengers. So some people with BO, they're literally choking you up with stench. Sellers are all around the window. They're all like, you want this, you want that, you want this, you want that. And they're also pickpocketers that are trying to rob you that's inside of a vehicle. So when you get to that bridge, anything of value, shove it in your bag. Don't hold it in your hand because someone's going to come very close to the window and zip, gone. So he's on this bridge. I would say it was still as busy back then because, like I said, back at that time, Onitsha market was still one of the biggest markets in the whole of Africa. So it's safe to believe it was still very busy. But then as he's in the bus, he sees the vigilante guys coming. And there's a strange air about them that makes them stand out from the rest of the people on the bridge. Probably they're holding weapons like machete, guns, and you're coming right towards your vehicle. And given your past record, your history, or your rap shit, out of everyone in this bus, I'm the only eligible candidate that could warrant these people walking towards me like this. They come closer to the bus and they knew the exact bus he was in because they got a tip off from someone about the exact vehicle he was in. So they knew the exact one to approach. Probably the car plate number. So they knew the exact one to approach, or car color, or if there was any significant marker like a dent, a scratch or something, broken tail light, broken headlight, missing windows. I don't know, but there must have been like a clear marker to let them know this is it. This is the bus. So they come straight at it and he knows himself. So Derico attempts to run. He jumps out the bus window. And just then there was a member of the vigilante group. The vigilante group is called Bakassi Boys. So one of the Bakassi Boys member was very close to Derico, and as he's trying to make a run for it, the guy cuts his ear off. I think he was swinging at him, but given the proximity of their closeness and the angle, it just chops his ear off, his right ear. It chops it right off, and he's trying to run, but these are youths and they're on a mission. They're angry. They catch up with him. They catch him, and Derico, who was ever so confident, who, by the way, I forgot. How can I always forget details like this? I had a script, but I woke up not too long ago and I wanted to record this podcast first. I wanted to record this first before doing anything else because I have been trying to record it for the past 4 days. And every time I try to record it, either my neighbor's kids are high on sugar, screaming forever, or the fire alarm, it just keeps going off and off and off. Today, it seemed relatively quiet. Everyone's out, I believe. So I thought I should do it first. So I couldn't even follow my script because I have like bullet points, order of important information to say first before the less important things. And Derico's nickname was among the first things I should have said. How he got the nickname? When he was still working in the market as an errand boy, he used to brag a lot among his peers and, everyone who would listen. One day, I'm going to grow up to be as rich as the people in America. People started to call him America. Yeah, people started to call him America. Over time, America morphed into Derico. When I read it, I'm like, hold up. How does America sound like Derico? America, Derico. When I first heard Derico, I was thinking, Jericho? Did he love Jericho so much? This is wild because I'm originally from South. because I'm originally from South South. Yeah, I find it very hard to pronounce it. It's difficult. South South. Oh, South South. So South. Okay. Hack. Don't say South South. South. I'm originally from South of Nigeria, specifically Akwa Ibom State, and we do have this huge intonation discrepancy. My personal theory as to why we have this thick Nigerian accent, Nigerian English as a whole country, is our innate stubbornness. Because people from other countries around us that were colonized by the French, they speak very good French. The South Africans, yes, they do have a bit of African accent to it, but they speak relatively good English. Yes, we have Nigerians that speak very polished English, but I believe those are the people that live outside the country or did live outside the country for some time. We have the Ghanaians that are high on something when they speak, because I don't understand why you're exaggerating it so much. I don't even know when you say one thing, it sounds like the other. I'm not trying to attack anyone, but it's just how I feel about the way they speak. Did you know my pastor likes pasta? But then when you actually see it in writing, it's my pastor likes pasta. I believe that we and them are somewhat on the same level of stubbornness, that we have the dedication enough to learn the language, but we're not interested in learning it properly. We learn it just enough to understand, and then we say it however we want, which is something that's very, very strong where I come from in the South. In the South, we pronounce things completely different from the way it should be. For instance, yes will be jess. Yellow would be jello. Government, coughment. But for the people in the South and the Southeast, I don't think they speak like that, like change words completely. But anyways, that was back in the day. I think this generation is more learned. Yeah, Derico was another word for America. And he was called Derico because he always believed he would grow up to be a very rich man. He did make some money, but in the wrong way, and definitely not as much as he had imagined when he was a boy, and he also didn't even get to live to enjoy it because he gets killed at the age of 22. So back to the story of how he was caught. He's being captured by the Bakassi Boys, and he pleads for his life. He's begging them not to kill him. He's apologizing for everything. And well, the Bakassi Boys, they beat him up so badly because, months and months of rage and just everything being bottled up right inside, they unleashed it on him. They did a number on him that he was so rough-handled. He was this close to dying. So they take him to get some medical care. At that time, the police are asking for the vigilante boys to hand him over, and they say, no, we're going to finish what we started. So on the 9th of July 2001, which is about 6 days after he was captured, the Bakassi Boys, they put him in a bus and they chanted war songs. They were singing, they were jubilating, and they paraded him around the whole community. It was a spectacle. People were watching. Everyone was curious. Everyone wanted to see his downfall, his death, and they made it very clear that he's about to die. They take him close to the Onitsha market, the same place that symbolizes his beginning. And before killing him, they pass him the mic to have his final words. And this was his final words. It doesn't sound exactly like his word verbatim, but also this main article I read, the writer, he's, not to be mean, but he's Shakespeare wannabe. Because he keeps writing things in the weirdest way possible. I literally have to use my own discernment to figure out the context and understand what he's writing. I'm going to add the link to the article in the description so you can read for yourself. Maybe you'll understand the story a bit different than I do. So because of the way he writes, I couldn't build this whole episode on his article. I had to research other articles as well. And some of them were able to correlate with his story, and others added more detail that he didn't. But anyways, this was his final words. Most of the other articles didn't have final words, so I'm just going to read his final words then. My name is Odi, alias Derico, alias Nwamama. I attractiveness to you, the people of Anambra State. Please don't kill me. I don't like evil. It had been after I killed Chechina that people thought I'm a robust guy. I don't think that man would have known the word robust. But anyways, It's after I killed Chechina that people thought I'm a robust guy, you know. I trust Bakassi Boys. They're sturdy. Please, mercy on behalf of me. No one will determine me as having robbed him. People simply believe that I'm a robust guy. Use your judge mind. Does that sound like something a person that had barely any education in Nigeria in the early 2000s would say? I don't think these are his words, like word for word. And this writer had quotes on it. Like, you're a writer, a blogger, and you don't know that quote is supposed to be his exact words. I don't think these were his exact words. But anyways, that's what we have. And do your own research if those were his actual words or not. Personally, I don't think those were his actual words. Maybe the message, the context is the same, but I don't think word for word quotes, this isn't it. After he makes a statement, he also tells them about the higher up official that provided him and said that there were also 2 people of importance from important families in Anambra State that were also supporting him. So he gives that information as well. And after doing everything he can to buy his life, the Bakassi Boys, they kill him by beheading him. As his head fell, so did his rain fall. So today he's considered the worst thing to have ever happened in the Igbo lands. That, my friends, is all I have for you on Derico Nwamama. Do we think that if he was born of higher status in the community, if he was born into a family of means and he was offered good education because he never had to worry about money, do you think he would have still turned out the way he did? Do you think if he was still able to successfully keep avoiding the thugs and never made friends with Chechina, that he would have turned out this way given that Chechina was his coach? I believe personal opinion, that what shaped Okudili into Derico was first poverty and environment. Like I said, growing up in a family of no means and making friends with people of no good. And I also believe mentorship through violence also played a factor, because Chechina taught him all the strategy, the intimidation, the survival, and instilled that hunger in him for fear from people, for control. And I also believe early exposure to firearms and robbery, because from the age of 14 that he's friends with Chechina, yes, he was made to be the errand boy because they felt he wasn't experienced enough, but he was exposed to it. He was around them. I'm sure at some point you want to do everything to prove to them, hey, I'm ready to be a member. Look, I can handle it. So it must have sparked a flame in him and fed it until it was a bonfire. And I also believe another factor was a psychological edge, because he grew up in a rough environment. Yes, there were traders, there was the bustle, there was the hustle, but underneath it, there was another dark world controlled by fear and violence. And he literally made friends with one of the people who understood that better than anyone else. So he understood fear. He understood how to make people fear him enough to hand over control, and he used it. So again, that's where we wrap it up for today. If you have any opinions or any thoughts about the case, please leave it in the comment section. And if there was any part of the case that was misrepresented or miscommunicated, please also do let me know in the comment below. I will read them and I'll respond to it as soon as possible. Also, tell me what cases you would like for me to talk about next, and I hope to see you next week. Until next time, take care of yourself. And also, very important, don't forget to do your own research. Do your own research. Confirm the information. Take care of yourself. Please stay safe, and recommend the show to anyone that you believe would be interested in the cases we talk about. Live and let live. Bye.